Good afternoon, welcome to the shed. So this shed is cold. It's been 0 degrees in here since before Christmas, so getting on for 2 weeks. Makes it really difficult to do anything really, because you have to whiz in. I've got a little blower heater, but that doesn't do anything when it's 0 degrees outside. So I haven't been spending much time out here, and I have to keep nipping in and out to get warm and you know, make myself comfortable. So I've decided it's time to do something about it, and I've been doing some research. I wanted a little mini stove, a little sort of micro stove. I've seen some on, I don't know if you watch a channel called Totally Awesome Fishing, but he's got a little micro stove in his shed. But those things are a couple of £100, and I haven't got that budget. I've also been watching Wrangler Star. I don't know if you watch him, I'm sure you do. He's got a big shed, big stove, big budget. I haven't got that sort of budget. So I've been trying to find a solution for the last few weeks and thinking about things I can do. Outside the shed I've got a nice old sort of barrel made from some very hard steel. I'm not even sure what it was. Beer barrel. And I thought I could use that, but it's just too big. It's gonna, you know, I'll roast in here if I get a fire going in that. Anyway, so then this happened. Yeah, I was walking the dog yesterday, or the day before, and in the hedge I spotted something. I'm gonna have to show you. It's a very large exhaust can, I suppose you'd call it, muffler, from a, I don't know what it's come off, a big pickup tractor. It was off the beaten track, so I don't really know what it was doing there. In the ditch, been there a few months, obviously. So I thought, do you know what? I will make a stove from that, or I'm going to attempt to anyway. This could all go badly wrong. Yeah, so in a moment I'll explain the plan. I had to carry it through the village on my shoulder, which made me look a bit weird, but yeah, also I was exhausted when I got back, as you can imagine. Dad joke there. Yeah, so basically I'm going to see if I can convert this into a stove. The shape and the metal is all good. Yeah, I'm going to bring you in close and you can have a proper look. So as you can see, it's quite a big beast. That's, I don't know, 11 and a half inches across, 30 inches tall, with a 2 and 3/4 inch pipe going in and out. So if I get a fire going in that and fill it up with logs, it's gonna, you know, I'm gonna be on fire fairly quickly. But if you think of the amount of radiant heat that will come off of that, if I light a small fire at the bottom, perhaps up to there at the most, it's going to make it lovely and toasty in here. That's the plan anyway. Okay, so on here, a couple of bits of iron from the fixings where it was hanging from whatever it was hanging on. They need to be cut off, one there, one at the bottom. Very handily, it's got a pipe coming in at the side, which will be my air vent, so I can fit a regulator on there. So the plan is to cut that off. I haven't got a spare hand to show you, but cut that off somewhere here. And put an air regulator on there, and then the top, which currently has this exit pipe, down pipe, I'm not going to cut that off yet, but I think I'll probably be cutting it here and sending a pipe straight up through the roof. Fortunately that pipe is probably a little bit thin, but I'll keep my fires small. I think we'll be okay. So this doesn't cost me anything. I've got some fire bricks I can stand it on, so the weight will be taken by those, and then I'll do some bracketry against the shed wall to hold it in place. So I'm going to cut a door in there about the size of an A4 sheet of paper, so it'll be enough to get me logs in and out. So that's it mounted on the fire bricks. I'm just trying to decide, I've got to make a decision whether I have this pipe sticking out towards the door or tucked in. Obviously it's not going to be, I'm going to have to cut this pipe off at the top, but I think the regulator should be on that side. That's my thinking, which means the door should be here. And I cut the pipe off. And I cut the pipe off at the top here and shoot it up through the roof over there somewhere. I'll have to adjust the actual actuals at some point. Okay, let's call that a plan. Okay, that's the rough dimensions of the door. As long as I've got the corners accurately marked, or reasonably accurately marked, I should be able to cut that. Oh, that wasn't what I was expecting. I wasn't really expecting any internal pipe work. Silly me. Okay. It may still work. Okay, little progress update for you. So on the plus side, the cutting of the door went really well. There's my door panel. I've cleaned it up a bit with a file. On the downside, there's this pipe going into here, and there's a part here. So this is like the baffle, as it were. So the exhaust comes in here, rattles around in this baffle here for a bit, and then comes back out into this area, rattles around a bit, and then goes up the exhaust pipe and out the top. Now I don't think that's going to work in a fire situation, because the air will be coming in from the top, it'll be getting mixed up with smoke. I think we'll end up with a blowback situation. So I think I need to be quite drastic. Definitely got to cut this pipe so the air is coming into the firebox. Get me with all the terms. And then I think if I can't remove this grid here, which I think I'm gonna probably leave because I think it's welded in, if I can't remove that, I'm going to have to cut a panel out the back and cut the exhaust pipe out if I can. So I've got a bit more cutting to do, more than I thought, but I'm going to crack on with that. I'm not going to show you me grinding a load of steel. That's not going to be very exciting. But yeah, it's going to look great, but I've got more work to do. I don't even know how much of that I can get out with the angle grinder, so I'll probably have to use my hacksaw, which means it's going to be hard work. Okay, I'll crack on with that. I'll be back to you when I'm closer to the edge. End. So another update. I managed to cut that pipe out, the what I'm calling the inlet pipe. I suppose it was the inlet pipe. So I've now got a complete chamber in the middle. It's now snowing, which is good. So I thought the only way to test it was to light a fire. And actually, it's not too bad. Obviously, I've got leakage around the door because I haven't fixed up the ceiling around that, and that's my next job. But most of the smoke is actually coming out through the exhaust pipe. You can see I've got a leak here, but a bit of exhaust gum can fix that, so we won't get full up with smoke. But apart from that, it's sound. If I can get a good seal around the door, I think we might be in business. I don't know if that makes any difference at all. Obviously I haven't got enough of a seal, but it's not going to be able to have a very big fire, but that's okay. I don't really need a very big fire. So it's really important that I get a good seal on that door, and then I think I may just do that and then do another test and see how we get on. I'm going to cut this off here but I'm done with the cutting for the day. I've had enough, so I'm going to do the door now. Also, the wood's pretty wet, so it's not surprising that it's smoking a bit. Oh, toasty! That is toasty. That's quite hot. Ow, that's fucking hot. Right, okay, that's enough for one day. Tomorrow we'll make the door and then see if we can install it. So this is the door that I've made. It's basically the original piece of steel from the stove, coated with some flue pipe that I had lying around, and banged into shape, bolted together. Had awful trouble with the bolts, but I've managed to get it done, and a couple of gate hinges for it to swing on. So I've ordered some sealant, or it's like a rope, a fiberglass rope that goes around there, and you glue it on just to stop the smoke leaking. So the next step is to just quickly make a catch and bolt this onto the door, onto the stove, and then I think we'll fire it up and test it again outside, because I haven't got the flue pipes yet. I've had to order some flue pipes, which is going to cost me some money, but I thought that was the safest way to do it. I needed a mounting to go up through the roof, and for that you need the correct pipes. So I bit the bullet and spent some money on that, but still going to only stand me in fairly cheap if it works. Okay, that's cool. So this is the door in place with the handle. I'm just doing a little smoke test. I've got some shredded paper in there. Most of it is coming out through the exhaust, a bit of leak there. But yeah, I think when we get the seal on that, we'll be all right. I think I can live with that. Welcome to the steampunk generation. I made a repair to the leaking stove at the top end, just using some modelling clay. Not the soft type, the stuff that actually does harden. So you join me as I'm actually installing it. The shed's in an absolute mess, as am I. And my plan, so it's sitting on 3 bricks, or 3 sets of bricks, a stack of 3 down the bottom there. I've fitted my door. I've painted it black, or spray painted it black, using some stove paint. And the plan is that this hoop will fit around there, attached to the back of the wall, and that will give me a nice bit of detail and also a rail to hang things. So for me cup of coffee or whatever I decide to cook. Greg's pasty. Okay, right, I'm going to do that and come back to you when I've got it all set up. So this is where we are at currently. The stove is installed. This is a piece of copper pipe, inspired there by my son, who said steampunk should be copper, and I'm using that as, so that goes round the back and fixes against the wall in 2 places, fixes onto the side of the stove, and then I've got another piece of copper on the top. Once me, I'll show you up the top here, my chimney is obviously going to go up straight through the roof, and I've also made a regulator in the corner here, which I'll take off for you. Now I know you're going to say, what, you made it out of wood? It's kind of like a test, see if it'll work or not. So I've just got this sort of like airflow regulator. Don't know if that'll work. I'm going to make something metal, I promise you, with hopefully some kind of bimetallic opening and closing mechanism. It's really difficult to film in here because I've made a right mess of the shed, getting this in position. Did I mention that I'd sprayed it as well? I don't know, but there you go, looks pretty good. So I'm going to have a bit of a clean up in the shed, get myself cleaned up, and then I'll give you an update to where we are and what's still got to be done. Okay, so the story so far is that the stove is installed. I'll explain about that in a moment. First of all, I had to have a right old clear up. Shed was in a right mess, bits of bolts and everything everywhere. I'm not very good at cleaning up as I go along. I'm good at it in the kitchen when I'm cooking, but in my shed I'm not so good. Anyway, so I cleaned the place up. Also, I looked a terrible mess. I've had to have a shave and you name it, I've had it. Can't do much about me lockdown hair, but you know, you'll have to live with that. Okay, so yeah, had a good old clean up, sorted out some stuff, moved some bits around so that I could make space. Obviously, I'm short on space in here, and this isn't going to help, but I need warmth. Let me show you what I've done so far. Okay, we've got 3 stacks of heat bricks working from the bottom up. Let's show you those. 3 heat bricks, or 3 rows of heat bricks down there. Just they're not cemented in, they're just as they are. I've got my door, which is made out of the plate that I cut out of the exhaust, and also covered with some aluminium or I'm not sure what sort of metal it is actually. It's not aluminium, but some steel from a flue pipe that I had lying around, big wide one, not too big for this. I made a handle out of a bolt, a bit of copper tube. Actually, it's probably best to go up. Oh no, there you go. Bit of copper tube, a couple of door hinges, and some lovely steampunk bolts to hold it all together. The brass, the copper tubing was my son's suggestion, and I thank him for that. That was actually good. He said steampunk should be copper, and you know, I'm a function kind of person, so if it's looks cool as well, that's all good with me. So this rail down here again is a bit of flattened copper pipe, which goes all the way around the back and fixes in 2 places, crosses over. So I've got good stability, apart from I've got a little bit of sideways movement, and that's because I've only got 1 piece of bar, 1 piece of copper tube at the top. So I've run out of copper tube, so I'm going to get another bit and just brace that across there, and then that won't move. And obviously I'll have the chimney going in there as well. So I'm really happy with how it's gone so far. As I say, it's a bit of a messy job, but it's taken me, I don't know, 4 hours to get this far. It's not too bad, is it really? It's cost me virtually nothing so far. I'll tell you about that in a moment. When I was bending this copper pipe, I used the vise to flatten it to give me space to put my screws in. It reminded me of when I was a very early teenager, probably, I don't know, 13, maybe 12. And you can probably guess what's coming. I probably can't say the B word on YouTube because I'll probably get banned or demonetized. But if you can imagine a tube of copper filled with a volatile chemical mixture that you chuck on the fire, and it expands very rapidly and creates a loud noise. Well, my next door neighbours were having a bonfire. We were friends with their kids. A big garden, and it was sort of down in their sort of vegetable garden bit. Big bonfire. Anyway, he'd gone off, so we thought, it'd be a good idea to try out one of those pipe bombs. Oh, I said it. One of those copper tubes that we keep talking about. So we got the ingredients. You can look them up somewhere else if you need to know what they are. Mixed a little pipe bomb, probably about 8 inches long, folded over the ends twice in our vise, chucked it onto the fire, and retired to a safe distance. What happened next was the most horrendous bang. Honestly, crows were flying out the trees, neighbours all came out their houses, everyone just couldn't work out what was going on. We legged it, of course, and didn't come back for about an hour. Yeah, but this basically, it blew the fire apart. It was like Red Adair blowing the top off a burning oil well in Texas. It was that loud and that big. Yeah, we didn't do that one again, but it was good fun, good experience, something you remember, and probably something you couldn't do today. There you go, there's a little anecdote for you. So what's left to do? Okay, so obviously I'm missing the most important bit, which is the flue. So I ordered one online because I was slightly dubious about trying to bodge it, and so I've spent some money. I'll tell you about that in a second. I've bought, I think, about 4 foot of tube, which will take me through the roof and clear of the roof. I also bought a flashing kit, which is a sort of silicone rubber seal and a plate that you bolt through the ceiling. So I'll show you when I'm fitting that. I should have said I'm going to finish this video at this point because it's getting too long, and also I've got to wait a few days for the flue bits to come through. So once I've got those, That's really all I've got to do is install that, which shouldn't be too difficult. Straight up, it's the right diameter. I've ordered some Jubilee clips as well, just in case it needs clamping up. Okay, I think, oh yeah, I was just going to tell you about costs, wasn't I? Yeah. So far it's cost me, for that lot there, nothing apart from a piece of copper tube, which was £5.38, and a can of spray paint, because I've used stove black on there. That cost me £5.50. So we're up to about 11 quid so far. A quid is a buck, by the way. Then the flue, which is the expensive bit, of course, has cost me 77 quid. So we'll be up to about 90 quid all in all, once taking the sundry costs as well. But I think it's worth it. I'd have to pay for the flue even if I bought a stove for 250 quid. So I see it that's okay, really. I've justified it to myself, haven't I? Okay, that's all for today. Thanks very much for watching. I will do a proper breakdown of the costs at the end of the second video, which hopefully, this should go out Saturday, this video, and the next in the series, the final part where I fire it up, should happen on Tuesday, assuming that the flue pipes arrive on time. Okay, that's great. Thanks for watching. See you soon.